Right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Accelerator here on Mastercast. My name is Bobby Sequeira, and today I have a special guest, Higgo van Biljon, the founder of FinMeUp. Welcome, Higgo. It's good to have you back on the show.
Thank you so much, Bobby. Appreciate it. It's always great talking to you.
Yeah, it's great to have you back on. We'll talk about your launch of the version 2.0, let's call it, of FinMeUp. But people will maybe know that we spoke once before, and that was in November 2020, and I'll leave a link somewhere over here where we can hear and see that episode where you explained your vision and what was kind of the motivation around FinMeUp. But today I want to talk more about this launch, the second launch, months in the making. Been following your story on Twitter. How are you feeling, Higgo?
Man, I couldn't sleep the night before the launch. It was just too much excitement. It's been such a journey, and there's been so many challenges. And so to finally be here is just incredible.
No, fantastic. Well, congratulations, I must say. But for those of the listeners and viewers that didn't see the first episode, do you just want to quickly give us a roundup of, or maybe the elevator pitch of what is FinMeUp and kind of what are you trying to achieve with it?
So it all boils down to what we are trying to achieve, and that is to clear the way to financial independence for our community. So we are very community driven, and that's also why there was the iteration of the app. So essentially, we provide financial education and information with the ultimate goal to take our users to financial independence, and all the features that we develop and everything we work on is to work towards that goal.
Yeah, we spoke about it in the previous episode, just kind of how financial education is a burning gap in not only South Africa, but around the world. There is this burning gap of understanding that what does finance mean for a person? How do you get yourself sorted in the long run, personally, business-wise? And it's fantastic what you're doing because there's just that thirst of knowledge and you can see it. Higgo, because I want to talk, you say you're community-based, and I've seen that you've kind of grown FinMeUp as a community-based. And since launching, that community has made you #1 downloaded education app. So just you want to talk to us about that journey and kind of that importance on the element of community?
Yeah, so actually it's funny. So the first version we launched in February 2020. And I think it was March or April, I actually had a dream where we are #1 on the App Store chart. And then not that it was a prophecy, but I didn't, think of anything at first. Just every day I was thinking, are we going to get there? Are we going to get there? But we just didn't get there. And I was so frustrated. But I mean, it's been such a journey since then. And now we launched, well, it's about 3 days since we've launched. And we're #1 there. So it's a truly a dream come true, and that's all thanks to our amazing community and also mentors on the platform.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, definitely congratulations on that. But you just want to kind of talk about that community. I'd like to understand a little bit better about the challenges in this world of building a community when there is so much noise and there are so many people trying to kind of put their hand up and be heard. What kind of challenges and advice would you give for someone that's trying to build a community and just like how it's helped you and FinMeUp?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is do things that don't scale from the beginning. And I think that's the guy from Netflix or Airbnb, sorry, that said that. And from the beginning, I was, before we even launched the app, setting one-on-one conversations on Zoom with some of our early adopters and asking them, what challenges are you facing? How would you want it to be solved? Then we launched the app, also asking them, what do you like? What don't you like? So it started with a very small community, which was interactive. And some of them became, like true fans, the word. And from then, it's just been always, how can we grow the community? And obviously, social media is a great way to do that. So, the first hire that I made was a social media manager, just because I knew the importance of social media and how we can leverage that. So for anyone trying to build a business, don't try all social media. We created a YouTube channel. The thing about it is if you create value, people will come. If you solve their problems, they will come. And on YouTube, we create a lot of content, for content people desire. On Instagram, educational content, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, everywhere. We just focused on social media, and through that, grew our community with the help of doing things that don't scale.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Because I find it very fascinating for anyone that's kind of following the Web 3.0 story out there. A lot of these NFT projects, and I don't want to kind of hop on that, but what it's kind of teaching us is that chicken and egg story where, there's the importance of having that community above just selling a product. So people focus on product first and then try and build a community around it. And we've seen with FinMeUp in the last couple of months just how the community comes first, the product comes after. And that's been quite an interesting, spectator view from my side. What's your thoughts on that?
So I actually tried both. So initially when I got the idea, I didn't do any testing. I just got on LinkedIn the next day. So that was in 2019, August or something. Mm-hmm. I had a WhatsApp group with friends where I shared content, and I saw the difference that it makes in their lives. Mm-hmm. And that was about 10 people, 8 people. So there wasn't really any validation or anything like that. But then in my sleep, my head is busy at night. I got the idea of an app, and I just decided I need to pursue this. Got on LinkedIn the next day, searched for app developers, got app developers, and just developed the app. And threw a big portion of my savings, my lifetime work into it without any validation. So I did that, and I would not recommend that. I would definitely recommend community first approach, or not even community first, but very lean approach to just validate your ideas and then engage with your early adopters. How do you solve it for them? This is the problem. How are we solving it correctly, and working alongside them, and then they'll bring their friends if you actually answer their questions.
No, exactly. That's great. And, so coming from my background, which is in product management, we focus on a lot of, do you build something that people actually want? Do you build something that people are actually going to pay for? Some of the biggest questions that we need to ask, because everyone's got an app idea. So when we look at that, and it's fantastic because in our first conversation, you spoke about that approach, which is phenomenal. There's a lot of companies out there that are failing to understand their importance. They kind of go into the solution space before they've actually identified the problem by interacting with their users or in your where the community. So just kind of tell us about these user interviews. What kind of research did you take, and how did you capture it to know that, listen, this is the direction we need to move in?
I think priority and focus is probably the most difficult thing for founders. The reason for that is even now we've got a product backlog and ideas backlog of pages, and all of them would be really cool, and some of them would work really, really well. But it's all about prioritizing, and that is where users come into play. So, once you have the community, and you can start doing this, even if it's a small community, is do polls, ask them the questions as it is. We have these 10 ideas. Which 2 ideas would you like to see first? And then you take the most relevant one. And then obviously you need to look at other factors like what is most viable, what's your budget, is it part of your vision? And, so all of those questions, but it's just interacting with them along the road. And then also data analytics, you can see what people are using, what they aren't using. For example, in the first app, I had this idea of a fantasy league for shares, and we built a game around that. And, I thought it's going to be such a big success. And just because of my own assumptions, we went on with it, where instead of, the thing about it is also ideas can sound really cool until people need to start using it. So sometimes we are gonna make mistakes. But then the idea, well, we launched the game. First of all, there were some technical difficulties. It was quite complex, but also people didn't really use it, because why would you play fantasy league with shares if you can just put real money into shares? So it's just thinking a bit further on the consequences, with that every action has a reaction, and how would that reaction be on the action. So it was quite interesting.
Yeah, oh, those are great insights. I'm telling you, for anyone listening, like rewind and listen to that again, because that is exactly what we do in product management and starting businesses. And this is what venture capitalists are looking for: is how have you iterated, how have you understood your product and your customers, and adding business value. Because I think that's what you're kind of touching on, is how do you give your users value, and then how does it translate into business value. So let's touch on some of those features that you have now built in FinMeUp. You've got some mentors that people can follow and subscribe to. Just tell me a little, tell everyone kind of what are the feature sets, what can people look for when they subscribe to FinMeUp?
Yeah, so I think the biggest lesson as well that I learned is you don't need complexity to solve complex problems. So obviously, FinMeUp is solving a very, very big problem, and that is financial literacy, which is such a big thing globally and in Africa and everywhere. So, we are solving a big problem, and I think that's why in the initial idea I had all these different features, calculators, a game, podcasts, stock picks, quizzes, courses, all of these different aspects. And part of that we learned, we just need to double down on what people really need. And that is short forms of content on a frequent basis that is curated content from industry experts on a daily basis. So essentially that is how the idea came of we need to get the industry experts in the financial industry creating content on FinMeUp to our community. So the mentors, it includes some of the names like Simon Brown, Keith McLaughlin, yourself, Rochelle, the Soul Financial, Es Mukumbu. So there's so many other mentors that's really solving this problem of financial literacy. And if you've seen what they've already done with their communities and how they've really helped people, we're just bringing everything together because people have different knowledge, people have different cultures, people have different skills. So we want to become the platform connecting all the essentials to the people that really desire, that need towards financial literacy. And essentially that is what helps us build the goal to financial independence for our users. And all that pages long backlog feature ideas is all fit into that. How can we make the experience seamless for our users and keep it simple? So currently, if you go into the app, you'll get access to stock picks, which is basically the mentors providing their research. So it's just transparency of how they're doing research and the research. You get access to podcasts, like this, or videos. You get access to blogs where people can write various kinds of, where the mentors write, what is credit scores, how to improve a credit score, the cost of not investing. So all these financial topics, as well as, FinMeUp itself produces content. So we publish everything you need to know every day about the highlights of the day. So it is basically like a news feed. It's like the Instagram for finances, curated Instagram for finances. So, every day you just need to go into the app and you'll be informed and educated.
Yeah, awesome. People are going to be melting at the head. The thing is, there's so much information to digest there. I've been on the app, I've been playing around, I've been reading some of the other content providers. It's awesome. It's fascinating. Just make sure you have a pen and paper and start learning, guys. I mean, who needs to go to university? No, I didn't say that. But that's great.
That's a sensitive one.
Yeah, exactly. Rewind. So following your journey, Higgo, I remember a good couple of months ago, and your timing is fantastic, and it kind of shows how you watch the markets. But I remember a while ago, and it was towards the peak of the Bitcoin $69,000. You posted on Twitter that you had sold some of your crypto holdings, and you're going to use that money. Now, correct me on this one. That you're going to use that money to help fund this new launch of FinMeUp. Can you tell me about that story? How true is my understanding of that? And just kind of that importance, because going back to this feature lists and your fantasy league that you mentioned, it's expensive to build features. Development is not cheap. So you really have to be sure of what you're building. How did you sell at the top there? use that funding and just kind of that funding to prioritize that's led to the feature building that you have of version 2.0?
Yeah. So I put in most of my money that I've made my entire life through music, through different hustles, through saving, through trading, through investing, everything into FinMeUp. So, since the beginning, it was self-funded. And I mean, this is now from end of 2019. And during 2020, I was always confident we'll raise funding, but I always thought it was going to be easier than it was. So during 2020, started the conversations with, like 2 investors. We need funding. I was, it was very not high level. But during 2020, made the first hire, and just continued investing into the app. And every month I was just continuing to invest everything that I've built up. And then especially last year, 2021, was in January, I got the idea that we need a new app. And it's without a new app, we won't reach FinMeUp's potential and we won't reach our mission. And this is very, very important, not on a financial level, obviously financial, but also, when you feel a sense of purpose, that is the ultimate motivation. And this is a problem that's close to my heart. So January last year got the idea, but, I was still funding the business and my resources are also limited. But I was just continuing to invest, and there were so many disappointments with investors. So what happened was the conversations with investors started in around September, October 2020. Okay. Then in 2021, Jan, I got the idea, realized we need to raise funding because this is going to be, an expensive development, because developing, especially an app, is really, really expensive. So then June came, still didn't have funding. July got 2 small offers of funding, but it would be sufficient for us to develop what we need to develop. But then I got a call from my main mentor at that time, saying they're going to invest a lot of money, like really, really a lot of money. I'm not going to say the amount, but a lot of money. And as the conversations continued, I basically got a basic term sheet on WhatsApp, very, very low level. So not a real term sheet, but I trusted the guy. And then a week later, I told him, we need the answers. If you are going to invest, we have to say no to the other 2 investors, and I don't want to keep them on the line. Do I have your complete word? I mean, this was my main mentor. Anyway, he said, yes, you have my word. My yes is my yes. And, there was reasons why I had that belief as well. Then a week later, I asked him, where's the contracts? Just the last message I got from him was, we'll be there within about a week, and never heard from him again. And this was obviously July. We were desperate for capital. We needed capital. And then I just said no to other investors, which would also have been significant. Anyway, started from scratch. But then July, I told our developers and designers, look, we're going to proceed. I'll do what I need to do to fund this. So I funded the design. And then after more conversations and relationships built, we raised funding in October. And essentially that helped us to finish the app and grow our team, and do everything we need to do. So it's been such a journey for raising funds, but now we are here, and we are able to give our community what I've dreamt of, and we're just going to continue to expand.
That's fantastic. Someone always has said to me that, when you talk about that funding story, it's horrifying. And, that's where, being an entrepreneur has got to be, you got to have a very thick skin and, to stick it out and keep going, because these are the kind of roads. No, it's never a straight line, right? You've seen those things where it's like poor guys trying to figure out before it finally kind of evens out, right? So what is in store then, Higgo? What can people expect from FinMeUp in the coming months, now that you've launched?
Yeah, so definitely more features, a bigger community, and more mentors on the app. So more and more content that is really, really helpful and valuable to our community. but we'll continue to partner with companies. We'll definitely look to expand into Africa. So there's already a few conversations there. And I mean, it's basically the network effect. As our community grows, the quality of the platform grows. So essentially, it's a win-win. It's a win for our community, so app users. It's a win for us as a team, and it's a win for our partners. So overall, we just need to grow the community, and then we'll be fine. But with that, we need to add a lot of value, and that's everything we do on a daily basis is how can we add value.
Fantastic. Well, Higgo, thank you very much for joining. I think we're all very excited to see where this goes. And at the end of the day, helping people up their knowledge and financial education, which is obviously a very important thing, especially in the world that we live in at the moment. So thank you very much for what you're doing. Thank you very much for coming on my show. And I look forward to furthering the partnership between Mastercast and FinMeUp. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, man.
Cool.
It's always great.
Brilliant.
Cheers.
Thanks very much. Goodbye, everyone.